This cat is here to save you time, help you level up your experience and capacity, to have a good time, and to inquire. Today, taking a look at Contrapoint's latest wit. First off, why is it so long? There might be a deeper reason to it than meets the eye. If you're interested, stick around. First point of order, why is Contrapoint's problematic? He does warn against black and white thinking, but then she lands on trying to raise the collective moral average of humanity, which is really vague and also really signaling against Trump. But then you're trying to help the trans community and stuff, right? So how are you gonna have leverage if you categorically rule out voting for that guy? Well, that's strange. Also missing other aspects in her prescription. What would these be? The economics and the international relations. You can't account for these? Well, all kinds of weird little things are gonna creep into your society in the name of the good thing, and you have all the same problems all over. And even more so, maybe, because if you try to be moral, the more you try to be moral as such, the more you're open to the idea to just do the good thing everyone seems to be all about, which is a recipe for disaster. This leads us to point number 2, why Contrapoints is problematic. He rightfully points out that fighting evil is dangerous. Yes, but I would add, it's a start. Where else are you gonna start? It's the most intuitive thing to people who are, after all, a rather collective species. But if you keep your intellectual humility, your curiosity about you, maybe seek dialogue with people, you could critique that and develop it in a way that's not so black and white anymore, not so fighting evil anymore. But if you straight up wanna jump to doing the good stuff, well, it's back to good and evil, right? It's how we just try to be moral a little more now. Well, just another word for fighting evil, to be a bit more moral, right? Point number 3, why Contrapoint is problematic. He's basically anti-Trump, as pointed out already. Maybe you should focus on building party independent power, get ahead for yourself, like I like to say, and good health is number 1. And isn't Donald Trump in a coalition with somebody who's gonna try to help there? Point number 4, she caricaturizes conspiratorial thinking into one particular aesthetic, like the Alex Jones variety, which is clownish on its face. Everyone knows that that's foolish. But by pretending that this is what it is, this is why people go to Trump, we otherize people who see all the other good things in Trump that might be there, or not. I don't know, but you couldn't possibly know if you equate Alex Jones and Donald Trump. And let's not forget that Rachel Maddow was trying really hard to shove Russiagate down your throat, right? Convenient to cover up the failures of your electoral campaign. Many unintended consequences there. As much as there have been long-standing plans after the unipolar moment, more coming from a place of hubris than intention, sure. And then the people who came after just inherited that. Point number 5. Contrapoints communicate, oh, it's bad for your mental health and your social relations if you're into this conspiratorial thinking. But no, quite to the contrary. It gives you good social standing, like that Eichmann person. He was well respected, had great self-respect. Don't think conspiratorial thinking makes it so you have a bad time. No, it's just if you think the things that other people in your group aren't thinking, then you have a bad time. There is a dominant framework of justification for how things are and how things should be, and then there's counter forces to that that can be as delusional as the dominant one, yes. So I'm not saying just be against the popular thing. No. Point number 5. Contrapoints overhypes political science and history departments when they have their own frameworks of justification, delusions you have to buy into. You don't get a job there, economic tie-ins, deans and so on. Look out for the money to keep coming. I will just mention Michael Hudson. Neutrality studies demystify psi and high-intensity health as a couple of people and places, YouTube places, that provide good value to appreciate and build on your good health, or regain it if you've lost it, and recognize there are people who are awesome, and you just gotta set them up, and most people can be awesome, but they can also be quick to delusion. It's not so simple that we're all gonna run after Alex Jones. No, we all have our small delusions that creep into the fabric of our collective understanding of what is good. Always the good thing. It gets us into the biggest trouble. Brings us right to the next point. Trump, despite his flaws, he has a person run an agency to get rid of the USAID silly people. Of course, useful idiots for an agenda they don't understand for the most part, right? Like no grand conspiracy, it's just follow the money. People get hired with their defects and delusions so that they serve some other agenda besides the agenda that they think they stand for. Trump, what he calls globalists, peddling monetarism to the world, so everyone under-equips their investors, besides the US. So the US, with its deficit spending, has much better funded investors who can go pick up all these opportunities and properties across the world through their much better funding to do the investing. And to invest ends up with the property, right? So that's Donald Trump moving to a more overt agenda. At the very least, it makes it easier to work with in terms of international relations, if he's just overtly looking out for US interests. I did ask, why is the vid so long? Why did Contrapoints put a 2-hour, 40-minute video out there to demonstrate her authority as a logician? That she has something to say, that she can reason it out, and fair enough. Now, I like to look at premises. Where is your base of knowledge coming from? As I pointed out, Contrapoints too much into the political science/history departments, apparently.
Endure forever.
But yeah, so she can reason it through. I do respect that, right? That because she did make the argument that conspiracy theories really do take a while to debunk, much more than putting them on the table, right? So how I would approach that and how Contrapoints did in the end ultimately approach it is you put something out there of your own perspective on things that's maybe more compelling than whatever conspiracy that may be or may not be true. It doesn't really matter. I care about RFK Jr. not because I like the person, I don't really. He's whatever to me, but he comes from a space that is academically sound, that is good for your health. Like people like High Intensity Health on YouTube can really tell you about the studies that have been going around and interesting things to get your health in order. There's plenty of stuff like that going around, and RFK Jr. is part of that space. That's something I would put on the table there. It's about what can you do already for your own health, whether RFK Jr. is in there in the public health related offices or not. Plenty good stuff there. Look around in the space. And so yeah, I do respect Contrapoints for putting something out there. And sure, she tries to get lots of authority for putting out this really long piece. And I just say, well, the premises don't really check out. Look around with a more broad range appreciation for the awesomeness you find in other people. From the establishment, yeah, like RFK Jr. is an establishment guy too, right? He's not reinventing the wheel. Just looking at underappreciated aspects of the science. And so it has with the other people I shouted out earlier. Neutrality studies, Michael Hudson, Demystify Psi, High Intensity Health. All good, academically minded people who really want to put the scrutiny to their own thinking and the evidence and the science. I think that's a good thing. That's where I want people to go. And it does involve not being so concerned as Contrapoints would have you, not being so concerned with the collective moral average of humanity. Again, implied is that you just gotta do the good things, and we're the good guys, and Orange Man bad. That's really the message I was getting from that, and I don't really think that's very useful. I want you to look out for your own benefit, don't give up on people, and good health is number one. Right? I mean, it's not rocket science. We all want fairness to take place in our lives, and more broadly. Maybe I got you some interesting perspective to develop your own life. Would be quite happy if so. See you again. Don't forget to sub and comment and like the video. Do comment how you feel about what you learned, what you didn't learn. And I hope you have a good run out there. Meow.